Welcome to the Who's Next Let's Go show. I'm your host, Mike motherfucking Johnson. I've been in 3 industries over the last 30 years, including real estate, automotive, and restaurant service. Each week, my guests and I will be sharing the stories that make us say, you can't make this shit up. So take a break from the mainstream bullshit and join me for another exciting episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show. Welcome to today's episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show, sponsored by the Back Porch Brewing Company and who'snextletsgo.com. Today's guest is a special guest he has his own podcast as well, so he's going to be very versed in this whole process. He is a local mortgage lender and previously was a local firefighter. So without further ado, we're going to introduce Mr. Tony. Welcome to the show, Tony.
Hi,
and I got my buddy, Mr. Mario here. Get that bus away! I've been called worse, man. I've been called worse. And don't forget to introduce Mr. Cliff. Mr. Cliff, the producer here. He does a great job of keeping this all together for us. Thanks so much, Cliff. And without further ado, Tony, how is everything going in your life, sir?
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me on your show. I see it everywhere on Facebook. You're doing great. Things are great. The lending world is starting to pick up a little bit. I think people are getting used to the interest rates being at their 30-year average. So things are moving along. I see real estate picking up a little bit.
Yeah, the phone's starting to ring again. That's always a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah, always a good thing. I want to apologize. I went by to get your special brand of beer from the Back Porch Brewing Company. I understand you have your own brand. That's how special you are.
That's right. The Suncoast Fools, which I'm a part of that organization. They meet at the back. Sorry,
The Back Porch Brewing Company.
They meet at the Back Porch Brewing Company, right? Sorry. And,
hold on, time out. And I hate to do that to you, but I have questions.
Yeah.
If the thing's called the Fools, I should be an honorary member just from title alone.
Absolutely.
And you should be the president.
I'm no fool. I'm the guy who bought all the Fools beer. Took it home and drank it.
Well, sorry to interrupt. No, I love that. That is the only classification that you have to be able to join is to be a fool. That's right.
Who's generally in the group, though?
So Fools is a fraternal order of Leatherhead Society, and it's a worldwide organization, and our local chapter is Suncoast Fools, and it's retired and current firefighters. We have firefighters from New York City. We have firefighters that are local. The organization is designed to promote the brotherhood, to promote pride and tradition in the fire service. If we don't know where we've been, we don't know where we're going. And also to bring in really great modern training for our firefighters to help with safety.
Perfect. But you don't have to necessarily be a firefighter. You can just be a regular old fool.
Well, technically you have to be a firefighter to join, but you're welcome to come drink our beer.
I mean, fair enough.
We qualify that.
And they have food now, so I mean, eat, drink.
Yeah, so the current board, they got together and with the Back Porch Brewing Company and created the Suncoast Fools Brew, and of course it's sold out right now.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what I went in and they're like, no.
Everyone wants to drink like a fool.
Wait a minute. I swear I qualify for this. Drink like a fool, and is there eating involved too?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I qualify. So being in either of these industries, I'm sure you have some funny stories to share, probably from both industries, and we've got time. So what's the funniest thing that's happened to you you tell me which industry first.
Boy. There's some funny things. I've got two good ones that I think that we should talk about. One just happened as a lender, right? And it just happened.
Current events.
And I did a video about this too because it was funny, and I actually had to ask permission from the borrower who's working with me. I'm like, hey, do you mind if I do a video about this? I didn't want to offend them. He's a friend of mine. We're doing a loan out in Arizona right now. And believe it or not, we can do loans everywhere, right? So we're doing a loan out in Arizona. And I had let my friend know that, we needed a certain amount of money in their bank account. And we get along, we're shopping for a home, we're now into contract, and we're now collecting conditions during the contract. And one of those conditions was, explain a few things, get a bank statement. And he gives me a call and he says, how do I explain the bank statement? Actually, he texts me and he says, how do I explain the down payment? And I'm like, well, that's a weird question to ask. So
It's only weird if it's shady.
I think, okay, this deserves a phone call.
Right.
So I call him up right away. And I said, hey, what's going on? I go, what do you mean by that? He goes, well, I don't like to have money in a financial institution. I don't feel secure with that. So I took it all out. It's in my safe. I said, you what? He said, yeah, I took out the money in cash in my safe, and now it's in my safe. I'm like, all of it? All of it. So the entire amount of down payment that we needed and closing costs are now in his safe. I'm like, well, did you do this all in one shot? He goes, no, over the past couple of months that we've been shopping. So he had 16 transactions that he pulled this money out. So I said, you're going to go down to the bank today and you're going to bring all that money. And I'm like, be careful going down to the bank today with all that money. And I said, and you're going to put in each transaction as you took it out so that I can correlate the transactions and and explain why there's so much cash going back into your account. Luckily, that was explainable and it didn't kill the deal, but when it says cash to close, they don't mean cash in your pillow.
Right. I got a couple follow-up questions. Go ahead.
This sounds like a car deal, doesn't it, Mike?
No, I had a car deal one time. The guy had buried jars of money in his yard, and he dug them up, brought in all this dirty-ass cash, and we're saying, sir, after $10,000, we got to tell the IRS. What the? But anyway, my questions for you are, you got to follow the money. So if he took it out, and then you got to put it back in. That doesn't even, I don't even.
We had a long letter of explanation. So, I've dealt with these things before. As someone that's really good in their field, you have to know what to do in these emergencies. And I just matched every single deposit with every single withdrawal, had him write a letter of explanation, put it into underwriting, and we were good.
So just for the folks at home, when it does say on your statement, cash to close, as Tony graciously told us, it does not mean actual cash. It means...
Not under your mattress, not on your pillow, not in a coffee can, not in a safe.
You don't need one of those visors and a money counting machine.
I think they should change that, but it does say cash to close on your statement,
What, money to be wired.
Yes.
Something along those, funds to be wired.
Funds to be wired.
So my daughter just bought a house, and I, being a daddy, she qualified all on her own. I wasn't anywhere on the loan, but I was gifting her the down payment. And I had to send in a hair sample, a sperms. I had to send in all this stuff because I was gifting her the money. This is only $8,000. It's not like it was a ton of money. So so I sent in the first $5,000 because that was our escrow. And then the $2,900 was left. But there was a fee for $20 because I Apple paid her. I had to sign a gift letter for $20 explaining the fee for the Apple Pay. I'm like, I'm not on the loan. And then I had to send in a bank statement. So on this bank statement, I'm a realtor. So I get commission checks, and some of them are fairly large. Hopefully, they all are fairly large. I had to send in explaining where these deposits came from to make sure the gift wasn't borrowed. And I'm sitting, and I do this for a living, and I was still getting angry because it's not my loan. Doesn't matter. I gave her the money. It's her money, her loan. So by the end of the time.
Was that an FHA loan?
It was.
So FHA is going to be a little bit more stringent on that. And conventional, you don't even need a bank statement if it's wired. So just.
But I was just $20 fee for Apple Pay.
Your sample question is really great because it's something I do with my clients, right? So the hair sample.
Yeah.
So you'll have good luck. So you'll have people complain. I'm like, hey, man, this is going to be so awful. I got to bring all this statements. I'm like, it's not that hard. It's 30 days of pay stubs, bank statements, tax returns. Anyway, when I get real pushback, I have this little picture saved of a DNA sample test. And I text it to them. And I go, did you get this in the mail yet? And they go, no. I go, great. All I need is your bank statements. Right?
That's funny way to
Work.
You know? Yeah. And I do it because it brings kind of comedy to the situation, lightens it up.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just trying to show them it ain't bad.
Well, I get it. The fact that you're trying to buy a house and it's an arduous process because of all the fraud and all the shit that's happened in the past. And I mean, it was wild, wild west back in 07 and 08 and all that other stuff. So I get that. But because I wasn't buying the house, that was my frustration. It's like this poor girl, qualified 20 years old, qualified all on her own, you know, did everything, went through all these steps, and I feel like I'm the one under the microscope.
100%. And that's something that's very important for me to like diffuse when I'm talking to people to make them not feel like they're being judged. One of the interesting things people don't realize that we're collecting documentation for is to make sure that we're not finding laundered money or terrorism funds because of the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff is really because of the Patriot Act. And one of the things that I think is so important, especially when I call anyone, I'm like, listen, these are guidelines, not people judging you. This is just what we have to do in order to get the loan and to give you $300,000 or $1 million, you know. But I agree, it can be arduous.
Well, it's just frustrating. And then I had to send over the commission checks and all this other stuff. But the worst part about it is because I had to send over my bank statements, my daughter knows how much money I have now, and she won't stop fucking asking me for money.
Hey, Dad.
No, I know you got it, motherfucker. It ain't like you can lie.
Hey, Dad, I just sent my rooms to go bill to you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So rooms to go. And then she says she gets all these alarms and everything else, and she's like,
Alarms?
Well, can't, like they give you the $500 coupon, the new construction people.
Oh, yeah.
So they sucker you right in.
Yeah.
So she spends the $500 coupon, and then she's still got a bill for like $1,000. I said, put the guy on the phone. I said, listen here.
Yeah.
Back this out, this out, this out. You put one camera here, it ended up being $79. But then she still has the nerve. Dad, you going to send me that $80?
Well, you must be proud, though.
Oh, super proud. Don't
That's
tell her.
a great accomplishment.
20 years old,
you know?
she's a nurse at night and going to college in the daytime. So yeah, I'm super proud.
That's awesome.
All the jokes
She's
being
a
aside.
lot, she's a lot smarter than Mike.
Oh, fuck
and
that.
And better looking.
I didn't set the bar very high, Mario. And I tell everybody this when it comes to my daughter. 2 negatives made a positive.
That's funny. That's too funny.
So I'm sure you have another funny story from either this industry. Firefighting. I bet it's a funny one then. Firefighting.
So, and you know, with firefighting stories, I have to be careful just because some of them are so dramatic or so bad that you just don't want to talk to a regular person about. But this one is pretty funny. So amongst funny stories,
things are running through my mind.
Amongst funny stories, you know, the guys, of course, working together, trying to diffuse all the stress, we're always harassing each other and always playing pranks or stuff like that. We had a battalion chief who loved sweet tea so much that the guys, and it was so sweet, the guys actually, he wouldn't make us, but he'd like expect tea in the morning, cold sweet tea. And so the guys put a bunch of sugar water together and dropped some brown food coloring, and it made it look like tea. It wasn't tea, it was water with sugar. And he drank it. And he's like, this is the best tea I ever had. So that's just one of the funny ones for that. But I tell you, I was on a call one time, and I am not... Vomit is like, no matter how long you've been in this industry, vomit, feces, things like that, they are not easy to be around, no matter how long. Like we actually keep Vicks in the truck to put under your nose so that you can avoid some of the smells. It's a little trick, right?
Good trick.
Yeah. So
I got a 95-year-old grandfather.
I need to have some of that at home.
So hey, it's a good tip, right? You got a bad smell, put Vicks under your nose, right? So we had a call, and it was a sick lady, and she, you know, I don't remember what was wrong, but she was just really, really sick. And we were pulling her out over in Venice on the island, and we're pulling her out on the stretcher, and we have some sidewalks to navigate and some grass, and we're trying to, you know, move the stretcher. And all of a sudden, she threw up. And she's laying there, and I'm right here by her face, right? And it's like the Matrix. It was like the Matrix. this vomit came out like this.
You saw it coming.
I swear that I felt like time slowed down.
Here it comes.
And I'm like this. And it goes completely over me. And I swear it was just like the Matrix. And I had such a hard time composing myself to not want to vomit right back at her. And we load her up in the rescue, and I had to go take a moment, on the side to make sure that I'm, but it was like the Matrix. Time just slowed down.
So I'm assuming not much got on you, if any.
No, I don't remember. I did take a shower, obviously, right afterwards. So I don't remember if we got a little droplets on there, but just in case, took a shower.
Here is another situation where I would have acted a little differently. If I'd have got throw up on me and I had to throw up, it'd have been right back on that lady. And I just think differently.
We have time for another one?
Oh, absolutely. We got plenty of time.
I got lots of them. So
perfect.
So we had a guy. We had a crew when I was brand new as I was brand new as an officer. I was brand new as a lieutenant. And I had a really good crew. And one of the drivers didn't like officers because a lot of times officers in the past had been kind of jerks to everybody. So once someone got a white shirt and became an officer, they felt like they were better than everybody else. Well, as a leader, you can't do that. So I tried to be the best leader that I could. So I'm in the passenger seat of the engine, and my driver, who had been many years on the department before me, much more seniority, was my driver, not an officer. He called us Shade Whitey, right? Because we got the white shirts, right? So he always said he just never liked officers. But we had a really good relationship. I think I changed that with him. And we had a rookie with us. And the dynamic between that crew, the stuff that was said in the truck, I can't even repeat. Right?
Well, you can on this.
But I'm going to tell you
podcast,
that
you can say whatever you want to.
We went to a call over here in the Venice area. And the first time it was the same crew. We went and transported the husband and took the husband to the hospital. And I would say a year later, we're same crew, maybe 9 months later, same crew, and we're going back, and husband was fine, and we're now transporting the wife. Same house, same crew. And the first time, this is all about vomit and, so the first time when I was transporting him, I went in, I had the two guys behind me, we go inside, and he is vomiting in the bathroom. And again, it's really tough with vomit. And the two guys behind me, and I go in, and I go in to go help him to see how he's going. He's over the toilet, and he's throwing up. And I turn around, and the two guys are 2 rooms away, going like this, like little kids going. They're like, I'm like, really? Like, I could use your help right now, And they were so skeeved out by it. So finally, we were able to transport him and take care of him. 9 months later, we're back. Now we're transporting the wife. The wife's sick. So we get the wife into the ambulance, and ambulance goes. Fire truck stays behind. It's me and my 2 guys. And the one guy looks at me, and he's got his legs crossed. He's looking at me. His eyes are watering, and he's like, "I have to go to the bathroom so bad." And the husband really wanted to go be with his wife, and follow her in the car to the ambulance. I'm like, "Hey, it's okay. Just let them go anyway. And do you mind if one of my guys uses your restroom?" He was in there for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. And it was so uncomfortable. We're standing there twiddling our thumbs, me and the other guy.
Bring his phone looking at videos?
Yeah, and the gentleman of the house, right? And we're just kind of standing there. He's looking at us like, what is wrong with this guy? And my firefighter driver comes out, and he just has this look on his face. And we get in the truck, let him go, and he looks at me and goes, "I wrecked that toilet." And it was so bad. It's just like things you don't know happen behind the scenes in the fire service,
So he dropped the swirly into poor people's house.
Oh gosh, I felt so bad, and it's so embarrassing. What do you do,
Nothing you can
What
do.
do you do when you have to go? Like, you have to go. He was the same guy he lived about an hour away, and he would have to take a bucket and a toilet paper because he couldn't hold it for an hour.
Wow.
So when he was driving, so he'd pull off the side of the road. So
that happens when you get old, like me.
So anyway, one of the best guys I ever worked with. Ended up being a great relationship, great friendship. Even though he didn't like officers, he actually became one after. I feel like I changed his opinion of officers.
So he looked in the mirror with his white shirt on and went, "I hate you."
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So there's so many of those stories.
We have to carry as realtors. We have to carry the toilet paper and all. You're in a vacant house, and you eat chicken wings the night before. It could be a rough day for you.
It could be a rough day. That's right.
I never thought of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
And I learned another trick too, because I'm standing in this house for 3 hours with no furniture, nowhere to sit down. So I bring a stool and a little table with me now.
Yeah.
Toilet paper, some hand sanitizer.
Open house?
Open house.
Yeah, open houses, right?
Yeah. And inevitably, if you do have to go to the restroom, that's when someone comes in. Ding, ding, ding. You're like, fuck.
That's right. You got to get that. You got to get that. Be back in 15 minutes sign on the front door.
I'll be right out. And then don't go look at that side of the house first.
Do not go in there.
You might want to give it a minute, right?
Yeah. Why is the fan on? Don't you fucking worry about it.
That's
Just
funny.
sign right here. Press hard. 3 copies. So
we had a guy. One of very interesting call. Not so funny, but just kind of crazy. The guy was stuck in a tree. We had a call. Stuck in a tree.
Hold on, the guy's stuck in a tree. It's not a cat.
No, right?
It's a dude stuck in a tree.
People go, well, what do you do as a firefighter? I'm like, there's not a lot of fires. I'm like, guy's stuck in a tree. Who are you going to call? Right? Not Ghostbusters, us.
Yeah, I reckon.
So we get there, and he had gone out to trim the tree, and it was really wet. It was like a rosewood, really heavy, and it was really wet. And the wire, he went back out after a storm, and he cut a limb, and it hit the high tension wire. Oh. So he is just slightly getting shocked, and he's holding on by his shirt so he doesn't get shocked. And we call FP&L as a major storm. Like they had 21 calls like in minutes, right? And we went there, and we call FP&L. It could be an hour for them to get there to shut it off. So what do you do? This is where problem-solving skills really come in handy. If I touch a ladder to the tree, or if I touch a tree, I'm dead. So we got a rope, throwed it up there. We taught him how to tie it off. We had him shimmy down the rope and jump free, and that's it. So the thing is could be very dangerous and deadly, but you would not think that we get called for a guy stuck up in a tree.
No, you guys get called for cats stuck in the toilet stuff,
Yep.
right?
Toes stuck in a drain.
Toes stuck in a drain.
How the fuck did you get your toe stuck in a drain?
Well, your toe is literally in the drain on a tub.
So that leads me to my next question. Have you ever been on a call where some stuff's been stuck in other like awkward places and it was embarrassing? Well, I don't want to expound on it. I'm going to let him see if he's got a story.
I don't recall any sexual things or anything like that. It's so funny that you'd think that we'd see that stuff all the time. We did have one of my crews did have a call that they went to a guy died of a heart attack, and he was in a hotel, and he had died right after they had been intimate.
Consummated the big deal.
Right after they'd been intimate, and obviously the woman felt terrible, right?
I killed him.
But she,
not as bad as him.
Yeah, she intimated him to death.
Hey man, if you gotta go,
way to go.
So if you gotta go, you gotta go. That's a way to go.
Way to go.
Woo, I'm tired.
But we did have a call, and unfortunately, it was a bad fire, and the person passed away. We did search and rescue and found them passed away. But later on, they asked the firefighters. I guess there was like $10,000 in cash sitting on the table, and I'm sure it burned up because we didn't see any of that, And it's just crazy. Break back to your cash in the mattress pillow. Make sure that stuff's in fire safety, fire secure thing, or in your bank.
What the fuck do you need $10,000 in cash for at your house?
Yeah. So
I mean, you're just inviting trouble. And if you didn't put it in your house, put it in the gun safe. So when somebody goes to steal it, you just grab a gun and shoot them.
Right. That's exactly right.
Why do you need that in your... People are crazy. So back to the mortgage business. I'm sure you've seen some shady shit in the mortgage business. And I have our next guest is here too, and she's going to tell some shady stories. But it baffles me how shady people can truly be. I don't think along those lines, and shame on me maybe for not. But there's no nefariousness with me. I just don't think like that. I just do the right thing. I have a good time. I joke. I might cuss. I have a couple vices like that. But doing the right thing always seems to come natural.
Yep.
And not so much for other people.
Most of the shady stuff that I see in the mortgage business is people with occupancy fraud. They're trying to pretend it's a primary, and realistically, they're really buying an investment property.
Wait, that's a problem? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. So, they try to buy a house, they pretend they're going to live in it. Or they buy it and then they're only going to hold it for a little bit and flip it. And that's not what most loans are for. So we've had a few of those. But when I first started, I was firefighter, and retired in 2014, was going to go become a district chief somewhere. I got a loan through a mortgage company, and the mortgage loan officer said, I know you're leaving the fire service. I know you want to be a firefighter, but you should do this. Like, okay, I thought about it, ended up doing it. So I'm brand new in this industry, have no idea what I'm doing, just trying to figure it out. How do you get business when you're brand new? So I'm trying to meet everybody, work with everybody I can. And I think that maybe because I was newer, maybe not, but there was one realtor that wanted that everything they sent me was shady. Everything. It's like, so the questions are normal. Well, how long do I have to have cash in my account in order for you to be able to use it? And it's usually 60 days, right? Mm-hmm. So that question came from this particular realtor. And it was because they wanted to give the money to a buyer, put it in their account so that they could buy this they could fund this purchase of a sale that he was a list agent on. So he was going to give money to the buyer so that they had the down payment so that they could buy the house.
And he was going to get both sides of the transaction.
And he was going to get both sides of the transaction.
And they were going to give it back.
That I don't know, but I'm probably sure, pretty sure that he would have charged him for that too. So that, and that realtor's still in the industry.
Which baffles me, because when you get your real estate license, as you know, you have to take a background check. You have to, fingerprinted and all this other stuff. And I run across some of the shadiest fucks in realtor, and I don't get it. How did you become a realtor? And how are you still a realtor? How do you have your license? I had a customer call me from an open house. My customer was at this guy's open house, and he calls me and he says, this realtor just told me that if I dump you, he'll get me $10,000 off, and if I'll let him be my realtor. I fired that guy from the car business, and he became a realtor after I fired. And now you know why I fired him. And my customer was nice enough to call me, and I said, "Put that motherfucker on the phone." And we had a long conversation. So
and there's some shady stuff that goes on. The good thing though is I have to lead with this because the majority of your realtors are trying to do the right things, right? Overwhelming.
Most of them are very good people, and some of them aren't salesmen and probably shouldn't be in real estate, but most of them are genuinely good people.
Yep. And there are shady people in every industry.
1,000%. But because I've only been in a few industries, I have to call the restaurant business, the 100%. Car business, or real estate, which, by the way, are three of the shadiest fucking businesses you can run across.
If we have time for a slightly shady story in the fire service, I can...
We got time. My man Cliff says we got time.
So... This is a good ending story, okay? But it starts off really crazy.
Wait, good ending? Or happy?
No, it's a good ending.
Oh, damn it.
Right? I knew where you're going with that. Ever since I started in here, I'm choosing my words wisely.
That's the smartest thing you said all
That's
day.
right. I choose my words wisely. I still might make a mistake by the end of this, of course.
Funny stuff.
Try not to get anything exploited. So I came on shift one morning, and the shift before had a fire outside of a house. And just imagine the house. On the right side of the house, there was a door to the garage, and somebody had lit a fire outside the house by the garage door, and it was intentional. And there was a family. It was a baby, her mother, and her mother. 4 generations of women. Great grandmother, grandmother, mother, baby. Okay.
Wow.
They're living in this house, and I get on, and I'm battalion chief that day. I'm acting battalion chief, and I come in, and we get debriefed by the shift before that tell us what happened, and the fire marshal wanted to go check out the house. And, as battalion, I figured, hey, this is interesting. I'm going to go with him. So we went out to go look at this house and looked at that it was obviously set by accelerant, and interviewed them and, kind of tried to figure it out. And we weren't really sure who was trying to set it, and ended up, he and I both seemed like we thought that someone might come back. So that was on my radar all day. And we're, running our regular calls. I'm back in the station, and dinner just gets on the table, and inevitably, the buzzer goes off, and we have this printer. It's like, zzz, 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 right? And it's printing out the address at the time, right? So you hear that go off first before the tones, and then the tones go off. And I stood up, and I said, this is our fire. I just knew it. I knew it all day long, and it sure was. Structure fire at the same address. So I get on the radio, and I'm like, dispatch, please, we're en route. Please send out the state fire marshal. This will be an arson fire, because we know.
Guy came back.
Cannot be, right? Cannot be. Everyone's like, how do you know it's an arson fire? I'm like, I just know what's going on, right? We did our research, we went out there that morning. So of course I'd been there before. I'm in the command car. I don't have to put on all my gear as driving. The guys have to get on their gear, get in their engine. They have to leave a little bit sooner, a little bit later than me. And I get there pretty quick. And now we've got fire inside the door, inside the laundry room, which is cutting off the garage, which was made into a baby's room.
Oh.
So when I get there, I pull out of the way, and I look at this, and it's cooking. It's cooking. And everybody so the grandmother and the baby are still in the house. The mother is in front of the glass. The cop had busted out the window, and the mother was literally peeling her bare hands on the glass, trying to pull the window apart. And I told the cop, was like, get her away. He couldn't pull her away. She's trying to save her baby. But obviously it's not going to help us right now, having another potential casualty. So smoke's billowing out. We have 2 people trapped. I'm waiting for everybody, and I'm pretty calm. And I get on the radio and give a size up, and the neighboring department from the area who I'd worked with before, they knew me very well. They heard my voice, self-dispatched to come to help, because they just heard my voice. They
so
knew.
That's when they take it upon themselves to just
right.
come.
They just knew, right? So they just take it upon themselves. But we also had, an alarm which was bringing in the proper units. But they just heard my voice, and they knew that they wanted to be there for me. And it's just that's what the Brotherhood Fire Service should be about, right? The fools, right? So we get there. So anyway, I'm still standing there, and I'm like, okay, do I have to? I get there early. Do I have time to get on all my gear and go in and try to rescue that baby myself without fire protection, without a backup? And I looked at it, and I didn't have time. So I went up to the front door without my gear and wanted to do a size up. One of the police officers sent one of the other rookie police officers with me. So we go into the house, we make 2 rights, and we look, and there is fire coming out, fire coming out the laundry room door. Maybe enough space to be able to climb under it to get to the baby. I was thinking that if I could get to the baby, could hand the baby out and get back out. As soon as I started going towards the fire, it was so hot that my body told me I was going to die. It would not allow me to move a step further. No matter how hard I tried, my body wouldn't move. So I knew that this was just, if I did this, we're going to die. We back out. We get back to the command car. I say the biggest prayer, one of the biggest prayers probably said in my life, you know. We now have another engine on. I tell them to go do some tactics to the front window and to go in and rescue the baby. We had the second engine come up. I told them to go in and bypass the room because I already got the layout of the house and go to the next window or go to the next door where the great grandmother is. So we were able to get the baby out. Baby came out lifeless. Cops holding it. Tries to hand it to me. I'm in command. I can't do anything because I'm organizing the whole thing. So I just send the baby to the ambulance, and they're taking care of the baby. And then the other guys go in and they grab the great grandmother, and my self-dispatch guys came in and they go grab the dog.
Thank God.
So we put the fire out. Baby's okay. Baby survived. Great grandmother survived. We saved the dog. Shady part, it was her own brother.
Whose brother?
The mother's brother.
The baby's mama's
the baby's
brother.
mother's brother that had set this fire, that allegedly had set this fire. And actually, she was under some scrutiny because her story didn't add up. But then this person got picked up by a police car a couple years later or something like that, a year later, and he bragged about it. So then he got busted
What
for
a
it.
dummy.
But that is shady. But
Was he trying to actually murder the people?
I just don't know what kind of mental health issues there was there. You know, there had to be mental health issues. But the idea is such a dramatic story with a great outcome. But, I mean, could you imagine, you know?
It almost makes you wish that he'd got stuck in the fire.
Yeah.
So thank God, God gave me the gift of gab, because I could not do what you do. I could not do what she does. I could not do what you do. All I do is go talk to people and sell houses and shit. So thank God that God has given me the ability to do that, to feed my family, because that's crazy. Crazy. And God bless you for doing it. So I think that we had some good stories today. Mr. Mario, did you have some good time today?
Absolutely. Thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. And some good beer for the Back Porch Brewing Company, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much. I want to thank everybody for coming out to today's episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show, sponsored by who'snextletsgo.com. Don't forget and the Back Porch Brewing Company, if I didn't say that. And don't forget to go by the Back Porch Brewing Company and have a great beer and tell them Mike sent you. Thanks so much. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Who's Next Let's Go show. If you want to hear more, you can catch new episodes on Wednesdays at noon, and all episodes will be on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at the Who's Next Let's Go show.